Welcome to Message Monday. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday. Family. I hope y'all can hear me. If y'all can't hear me, please give me a sign or something. Drop something in the chat. I'm watching the channel, so let me know if you cannot hear me, and I will definitely try to figure something out on this end. But other than that, what's up? What's up, Cuzzo Fred? Happy New Year, bruh. Man, I have absolutely missed you all. I've absolutely missed this. I've been super busy, beyond busy, but grateful to be back on the air with my people. I don't even call y'all fans. I call y'all family. That's what y'all are to me, especially Cuzzo Fred out there. It is just really good to be back live and be back on the air doing what we do. I'm going to actually kill this background because it's kind of driving me crazy right now, and I just don't like it. So I need to figure out how to get rid of that background. Anyway, I'll take care of that in a minute. Other than that, fam, it's good to be with y'all. I have some updates for you, what's going on in my world, in my life, especially today. And I've got some new. I'm not going to share the news about my man Gary Dotson until he comes back on the show when he's available. But until then, y'all know how we do. If y'all got a prayer request, please put that prayer request in the chat. Definitely want to make sure I keep you all in prayer as well as we go through. And so if you got a prayer request, please put it in the chat. Please share the feed. If you have an opportunity, I'm going to go into prayer. I'm going to go in and do what we do on Message Monday. Father, I thank you for the opportunity to be before your people again on Message Monday. I thank you for the opportunity to share things about life, things about men, things about the world, things about the city, things about people. I thank you for the opportunity to be here. I thank you for that which you make available to keep this show going with cost of equipment, with cost of online services. I just thank you, Lord, and pour out a blessing. I just thank you for that, and be with us. Be with those who are mourning. Lots going on in the city and the state for that matter, but be with those who are mourning, Lord. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Actually, be with those families. Let them feel your presence, hugging them. And I pray in Yeshua's name, amen. So, fam, what's happening? What's good, everybody? So, yo, check it out. New year, new beginnings, transforming you. What y'all up to? What y'all got planned? What are y'all doing with yourselves? What have you mapped out for 2024 for you? If you have not checked out my man Lionel Harris, that's lionelharris.com. Check him out. He's got a purpose workshop coming up. So he don't pay me for this. I'm just sharing community information. If you have been looking to discover what your purpose is and you've been having a hard time figuring that out, Brother Harris walks you through a process to help you figure those things out. And then you'll be able to haul off your purpose with no purpose. My purpose is to glorify God by helping men and women and young people who are bound with childhood issues, helping them write their own deliverance so they can live their best lives. That's Tony Briscoe's purpose. How do I execute that purpose out? Man, it comes through jobs, it comes through training, it comes through people that I meet and that I have life with in cybersecurity. I get to fulfill my purpose through all of those angles. I teach once a quarter IT fundamentals to a group of people. When I teach those fundamentals, I go through the things that I've learned from Lionel Harris, that I've learned through Landmark for Living. I pour back into people. So that's how I fulfill my purpose. Those are the things that I enjoy doing. And not alone being a minister and a minister of the gospel. I have rehoned my focus for my studies this year. So No more remote Bible class. I am back inside of the church on Wednesday nights. So I don't do a lot on Wednesdays because I'm off work. I'm going straight to Bible class to be back inside of the building, watching Bible class as opposed to doing it remotely. So giving back that which God has given me and just turning things around. Who do we want to pray for? Man, pray. There's a lot of people that need prayer, y'all. We saw the murder suicide that happened in the south suburbs. I can't remember the suburb, Tinley Park, I believe. You had a husband who killed his wife and his daughters and then killed himself. And so it's unfortunate things and a tragic loss for that community and for that family. And so there's something that's going on with men. I don't care what color we are. I don't care what culture we come from. There's some things going on with men and not being able to handle emotions properly that's leading to the death of people. We see it with mass shootings, and now we're seeing it more and more. This is about the fourth death I've heard of in about a week and a half that's domestic violence related. Either significant others or spouses killing their wives and then killing themselves. Um, I don't mean to sound cruel when I say this, like, cut out the middleman. Just take yourself out. Like, just stop killing women. Stop killing women. Stop killing kids. Like, get the help you need. If you can't get the help you need, I don't want you to do it. But it's like, man, can we spare the lives of people before we go on these rages and these rants of gun violence and murder suicides? Like, something has to give. We have to find a way to tap into men. And again, it's part of the purpose, is how do we get men in a place where they can really express themselves and deal with the things that they're dealing with, right? How do we stop them from acting out that which has been a part of them for so long and get us as men to actually talk about how we feel in a safe place and in a safe space, and then get the tools and the help that we need in order to control those emotions that sometimes get the best of us. And so I think that's unique, and I think that's something that we need to do. There we go. Now you don't see my head disappearing and everything. What updates do I have? So prayers for those families. Ryan Sandberg, big time Cubs fan. If you know me, all my Southsiders don't hate. Big time Cubs fan. Hall of Fame. Ryan Sandberg has been diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer. That's pretty serious stuff at that level. I'm not sure how old Ryan is right now, but I know he's up there at the health check where we should be getting ourselves checked out. So I'm not due for my annual physical until June. But men, a clarion call if you're feeling anything in your body going on. And I don't mean like a common cold and things like that. Like, sometimes you go to the doctor for that stuff, sometimes you don't. That's really up to you. But if you feel something going on in your body, go to the doctor. Please go to the hospital. Get yourself checked out. What's going on, Mike? What's going on, Mike? Please go to the hospital. Mike, you been to the doctor? I'm about to send you a link to this podcast. I'm about to send you a link. You can get on here. But go to the doctor, fam. Please. Jeopardizing your health and your life, it's just not worth it. So make sure you're getting checked out. And I'm no way insinuating that that's what Ryan Sandberg did. He went to the doctor, he got checked out and things like that. So just remember to please check on yourself, check on your health. Men, brothers, we got to get checked out. We got to be on our game. We got to do things right. We got to take care of ourselves, and we got to elevate. So just keep those things in mind as you are moving forward. I'm not sure what Mike is doing tonight, but I'm definitely inviting him on the show because I love that dude. I love that brother. So please, that's all I got to say about that. Go get checked out. Prostrate, colon, anything else you need to get checked out. Just go do it. Just go make it happen, fam. Again, my annual review is up. My next annual physical is up in June, and it's very serious. I talked to the people. There's some things I need to do. Shout out to Antoine, who's out there. He has made tremendous. I have watched this young man change his health over the course of 18 months. I'm not going to share how much weight he lost. I can assume I know how much, but I mean, he has really transformed his diet a lot. I've seen him eat avocado toast. You know, I've changed. I've been eating more salads. I have eaten more salads the last 2 months than I have the last 5 years. And I know that's sad. It is, but I'm just telling you, like making changes like that have been beneficial for me. I went to get some suits, and my waist wasn't the size I thought it was. I've shed maybe 3 or 4 pounds, but that's 3 or 4 pounds that I'm not carrying around anymore. So I'll say that to that. So kudos to Antoine for what he's done. Yeah, yeah, they're fun, Antoine. My wife, man, she's gone on and she started. I was like, hey, whatever you put in it, I'm gonna eat it. She started adding all the stuff I don't like, but I still eat it. You know, she got cucumbers in there, she's got raw carrots in there. She added some dry cranberries the other day, just to make the salad a little bit more lively. So I'm a dude. I'm bougie when it comes to eating. And so I'm a creature of habit. If I like something one way, I want it that way all the time. My wife is a little bit more dynamic than that, but she adds different things in some sunflower seeds, some corn, though I know our bodies don't really digest corn that well. Yeah, take your time, Mike. But I did want to share that. So let's just make sure we're looking out for our health. I was really down for a good 8 days. I still worked, but I worked remote for most of those days. But I was down, like I was in bad shape. And again, not shape enough to go to the hospital because I told you I don't fear hospitals. I just knew I could manage what it was. But still, you know, when you got cold in your chest, you got cold in your chest. It's not going anywhere, right? So getting rid of those things. So just please, brothers, go get checked out. I beg you. I talked to a brother who was 47 years old. He never had a colonoscopy. He never had a prostate exam. And I was like, bro, are you serious? Like, this is not something that black men we can afford to live like that. I'm just gonna call it what it is. The data's out there and everything. So just make sure we are getting checked out. There's been a situation with the Secretary of Defense, and I'm gonna pull it up real quick because he's been in a lot of a lot of scrutiny lately. So the Secretary of Defense is on the cabinet, right? You're a cabinet member. If you're a cabinet member, that means you're in line to the presidency one day. So Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin did have emergency surgery for prostate complications, and the problem is that the president didn't find out about it until after he was already in the hospital. So whenever a black man do something, they gonna be coming for him. Now, there are people who are Republicans who are calling for his resignation. Like, stop. My good friend Amisha Cross made it clear that there are Republicans who are on medical treatment, cancer treatment, getting radiation. So I do think that it's a cause for scrutiny when it comes to him not saying anything. But I thought our healthcare was private, even in the public sector. But I'll just say that again, he's dealing with some prostate things. I'm a military man, so I've got views that are just purely military related. And for me, hey, dude, if you're going into the hospital and you're Secretary of Defense, yeah, but I'm not in Washington. I don't know the protocols. I don't know the right procedures. I don't know the things that should be done. I just know the president should have known. But to say that this man is not qualified after 40 years of service, you Democrats and you Republicans who talking about him, y'all need to stop. Let that man be. Let that man do his job. So what do I have going on? Fam, after 13 and a half years, I resigned my role from the Noble Network of Charter Schools, and I started a new role today as the Executive Director of IT for the University of Illinois Chicago School of Liberal Arts and Sciences. I started today onboarding and orientation. I got a lot of work to do, be back in tomorrow, but I want to make some things clear. No man, and again, I'm not dealing with color, skip color. No man wakes up at 52 years old and decides to change jobs after 13 years somewhere, that late in life. It was necessary for me for professional growth. It was necessary for me for mental health reasons. And so there's a lot of people to thank. The reason on my Facebook page, the only person I thanked was my wife, because it was too many people to thank. And once you start naming names, people get sensitive. people getting their feelings and they take the focus off your blessing and turn the focus back on them. I thank my wife for a reason. She has been the consistent norm in my life and the consistent prayer warrior in my life. But there are people to thank. I'm going to go name names and I'm probably going to get in trouble, but know that it's from a heart space. It's not from a head space. And so, I want to thank my mom, Lee Verna Wells. She has always believed in me since taking me in as a foster child back in 1989. She's always believed in me. She was in town. We talked. We got to see each other. Got to spend some time together. So I thank her for always believing in her loco. I ain't gonna tell y'all about the name Loco. We ain't gonna get into where that name came from. All right, y'all. Don't do that to me. But I am grateful for her. I'm grateful for my wife, Mama T, who's been on this show, Reverend Baker. I thank her for talking to my wife to help us navigate, the different insurances that are out there that are provided through UIC. My sister Adair, who's been my personal, her and Margaret, Margaret's been my personal HR person for over 20 years. Adair's been my personal HR person since I met her. They've helped me navigate these processes and these changes, and I'm grateful. The brothers in my life, from Gary Dotson, who's on the show with me, my pastor, Dr. Brazier, sister Nikki Newsom, who's an executive at Facebook, my man Marlon Medius, and Dr. Nicholas Pierce. His book, The Purpose Path, really set me on an intentional place to be intentional about my future and my career and about what was working for me and what wasn't working for me and how to navigate those spaces. But I've got to give a big thank you to Noble. People who know me, they know my work ethic. They know I live and bleed the Noble network of charter schools, even while I'm not there anymore. The amount of the reception of love that I receive from Noble, second to none. Right? Then why did you leave? We ain't here to get into all that. But I just want to thank them. As I was onboarding today, I just was like, man, I learned a lot at Noble. So I was some things I'm able, and I think that's the thing. I started out at Noble as an IS support specialist back in 2010. I worked my way up to senior support specialist. I worked my way up to senior project manager, then to assistant director, then to director, and then to senior director. And so I had 6 titles in 13 and a half years. And all of that has prepared me for the next level of my journey at Noble. I'm gonna bring my man. What's up, Big Mike?
What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just telling the people I started a new gig today, man.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, that's what's up, man. Look,
Yeah.
like you said, everybody don't make that transition, that late in the game. Not saying that you old. I'm just saying,
Hey, bro,
when you
52. I'm gonna call it what it is. I'm gonna speak
when
to
you
people like, man, you old, dog. But when you want to advance in life and in your career, you've got to just be able to decide either you're content where you are, and there's nothing. If you're content, there's zero wrong with it.
Absolutely.
But if you're not content and you believe that there's more for you, then you got to find a way to go out there and go and get it. This started back when I went to Ghana in 2022. I was just coming off a interview internal that I did not get. Don't want to get into the reasons of that across the air,
Right.
but I needed that trip to Ghana for my sanity.
Okay.
And I took that trip. I remember being in Cape Coast, up 5:30 in the morning, looking off the ocean, knowing I needed change, and just was like, Lord, just guide my steps. And coming back, looking at different opportunities. And then this is what came up, man. So I'm utterly grateful for that. But I'm not one of those dude who bashes employers. Like 13 years at an organization built me for the next level of what I have to do now. And for
Hmm.
that, I'm always grateful.
Yeah.
I'm always grateful, man.
Job stability is hard to come by nowadays, man. I don't hear nobody saying, "Yeah, I've been here for more than 3 years, 4 years," because people have gotten to a point where I think they realize that that the employer is not as loyal to the employee,
Yeah.
as the employee is the employer. Sometimes, we'll go to bat for some jobs. You know what I mean? Be like, no,
Absolutely.
I love this company. Well, I do this, and we will go out of our way and work above and beyond and all of those things. And just to come to the realization that you are what they consider to be an at will employee.
Yeah, and then those are some of the things that I learned in the process with massive support from my chief strategy and diversity officer, massive support from the diversity officer, my direct team, my CEO. And I also had to recognize, just that. And I told my daughter after a major disappointment, I said, hard work doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, not anymore.
Loyalty means nothing. Right. And so if you find a place that you're able to do all of those things and have a long career, great and blessings to you. But I mean, I know people who are working at AT&T getting ready for retirement, they got let go. They got
Wow.
packages. It's like, no, I don't want a package. I want to retire. Yeah, that's not even possible right now. So I couldn't imagine, 20 years in the game of employment and then all of a sudden
It's
you're
just
done.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so in 2000, when I got called up after 9/11, everything jumped off with Enron, right? And so there were people I served with in Great Lakes who had worked for Enron who lost everything.
Mm.
Pensions, gone. 401k savings, gone. And I'm not sure how much of that they even recouped because, Enron, they found a couple of folks dead in their cars from self-inflicted gun wounds. But I mean, executives, I mean, it was serious, man. So
Yeah.
I've seen people just give their lives to organizations and really have, no return on that. And so I think we owe it to ourselves for whatever we're dealing with. And then, making the shift. My buddy Elder Medias, he was just like, he said, bro, I just commend you. Doing what you just did is no small feat.
No, it's not.
At 52 years old, wherever you are, you just ride it out. And you didn't do that. You made a move, brother. Like that's massive. And I thought about all those things. I thought about all those things. I thought about having to switch the 401k over to an IRA and these other things I've got to get working on the financial side. But I don't regret the decision. I don't regret the decision.
Yeah.
And it came with some trepidation, man. I mean, again, Mike, you and I have talked before, not at length or detail, but we've talked about, how to bring men together who are
Mm-hmm.
older in life, who are just waking up to just not just feed off of each other, but to really see how we can strengthen men, strengthen each other, and also meet us right where we are. We're at the age where we're the forgotten ones, right? Like there are people who they want to pour all of their energy into young people, and they're having a really hard time getting the young people to pour energy into. When I say young people, I mean millennials, those who are in the 18 to 25 age range. I had a buddy,
Mm-hmm.
he runs a program. I teach at his program, and he talked about the success that he's had with older men who are getting out of prison and learning about IT, getting into the IT field, working with organizations who can hire those who have a criminal background or some kind of incursion with the law. I think he said it was a gentleman 45 years old who did
Mm-hmm.
well in the program, got his certification that he wanted to get, and he did really good on a particular project. And he got an award for it as part of the program. And he said at 45, he said, "This is the first time anyone told me I could do or achieve anything."
Wow.
So imagine doing 15 years, 10 years in prison, and the first time somebody tells you you could achieve something, you're 45 years old.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
Man, me and Phil talk about we have this conversation, often because when as you mentioned, sometimes it's harder to get the young people on board than it is the older people,
Yeah,
and it's a lot of times is because some of the older people never had the opportunity, right?
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
then, and also, when you look at especially those that were incarcerated, some of them may have been in prison for 15, 20 or so years, at a young age.
Yeah.
They went in prison when the thought process was, you got to work hard to get somewhere in order to
Mhm.
get anything.
Yeah.
I think it's harder for this generation, and it's not because I don't think they're lazy, but
I
when
don't
you
either.
look at just society as a whole, it has created this narrative of instant gratification.
Absolutely. More
You you
so.
kn you know what I mean? More
Yes.
and so it's the get rich quick, the instant fame, the you know what whatever the case may be, everything now is and really even saying microwave is an old school term, but everything now is I need it now.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen now, then it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
Whereas the older gentleman was like, no, I understand that I gotta put the process in. I talk to a lot of young guys and they be like, man, Uncle Mike, I want to do this streaming thing, man. I think I can really do it. Like, dude, you gotta understand what goes into that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I believe that you can do it. And because I look at some of these folks, Tony, and I'm like, I don't see how in the world you
They got
all are.
89 million views,
How
bro.
how did you have? What are you doing?
How you even got a following?
Like, who is following you? And this is no shot, right? This isn't
It's
a
not.
shot.
Yeah.
But I think about it. It's a gentleman. What's this guy's name that does the food? Keith Lee. You have almost 10 million people following you, and all you're doing is going to just different restaurants and just giving your opinion.
Is that the guy with the monotone voice?
Yeah, that's the one that's like, he was like, I want to go get my cheeseburger. I wanted somebody to tell me about it. I bought it. Let's try it. And
Yes.
that's his whole shtick. And he
Yeah.
does it from he's
And
sitting
get
in his little
paid.
girl's chair. And dude, he is everywhere. All these celebrities are flying him out. Hey, come to my restaurant. Hey,
Yeah.
what do you think about this? And so you see that, and it's like, well, if he can do that, I can do it.
Yeah.
And now you see everybody sitting in their cars giving food reviews
Yeah.
and all these things, man. And again, and there's no knock at it because
Oh,
even
yeah.
even us, or I can speak for myself, even with podcasting, it's like who doesn't have a podcast now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like
Absolutely.
everybody got a mic, everybody has a camera because they're looking for that instant
That moment.
gratification. Yeah,
That
because I
moment.
swear I'd be watching some of these podcasts. It's like, how in the world do you have people following you because you are the one person that don't need a microphone? But
It's it's
here we
it's
are.
cra- it's crazy, but I think it's and I think me and Antoine, who's on, we talked about it. I think we were chatting about it last week that
Mhm.
everybody has a niche, and once they find that niche and they roll with the market,
Yeah.
it's just an instant turn on, right? Like Shannon Sharp, Shay Shay, like that dude. Yeah.
But he was always, but you know what I will say about Shannon?
Yeah,
Shannon was always, first of all, he was known because he played football.
absolutely.
And then he goes on the show and he becomes, I don't want to say a character, but he definitely becomes a personality that a lot of us were able to relate to and vibe
Absolutely.
with. And it was just like, man, this dude is I like this guy.
Yeah,
And
real
you
brother, dog.
is real right. And so you watched Undisputed because of Shannon Sharp. You didn't
Yeah,
watch because of Skip Bayless. Like who really? I'm like, no, I'm watching because of Shannon. That's the only reason why I watched it.
yeah,
And so when that went down with him and he left and got his own thing, man, I was happy for him.
yeah.
And it showed that he definitely had that something that people either appreciated or they really liked or they whatever it was.
Call
And
you uncle, man.
yeah, it's Uncle Shannon.
Uncle Shannon.
Uncle Shannon. That's why. See, I be telling people, I'm like, listen, I don't take that term lightly. When somebody call me uncle, man, I wear that like a badge of honor, fam. I ain't gonna
Absolutely.
even lie to you,
Yeah, yeah,
But it's like, but you, and that's what you aspire to be. And it's like, man, it'll be in May. It'll be 7 years that
wow,
we've been doing this. Now, the
wow.
first 4 years or so, I want to say was primarily just audio, because
Mhm.
that's what we did. And
Yeah.
we haven't been in the video game too long, and maybe it'll be about 3 years this year that we've been doing video. And of course, people are like, well, why do you do it? And what do you get out of it? And I have my own personal reasons why I do it.
Yeah.
But I keep telling myself that there's a groundwork to be laid. And the crazy thing is that what we've done in our show has evolved. It's like every time I look up, it's changed
Mhm.
in some way.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like where even from the initial inception, I knew what I wanted to do, and I just didn't know exactly how I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But it seemed like some way, somewhere along the lines, it's kind of found its way, and we're in a space
Yeah.
now where it's like this is it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I you know what I'm saying. But yeah, man, it's easier, it's harder to reach these young folks because they want it now, and they need it now, and if they can't get it now, it's like I don't want it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that they're not lazy, 'cause I don't view them as lazy. I view them as
No,
doing what they want, the majority. I
yeah,
talked to a young man today who, he was like, "Man, how did I not know you were in IT but for a year?" I said, "I don't know. I've known you since you was a shorty, man. I've always been in IT, but he's doing some dynamic things, and he started his own business, man." And again, that's what this generation is doing. They're like,
yeah,
Huh, I'm on. He's been on his own 3 years. He's
yeah,
under 30 years old, on his own for 3 years in business. That's not a small feat to do.
no,
You
it's
know, and,
not.
he, and he's lined up some other things, and I think that's the part that inspires me about this younger generation is that they've showed the older generation of things that we can do that
Hmm.
could push us. Even late in life, and at the end of the day, man, I have just leaned all of my trust on the Lord. I've been able to give Him every concern, every care from now to retirement.
Yeah.
It's easy to tell people or tell men, "Oh, yeah, well, you should have been doing this years ago." But yeah, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I wasn't. And
Yeah.
half of the time it's because we just didn't know.
We we didn't know. And you know what, it's funny because as my son comes into the room while I'm doing the live, hello son. He just what's you all right? All right, it's okay. It's good seeing you, buddy.
Loved it, man. I loved it. They so unfiltered, bro. They so
He was
unfiltered,
like,
bro.
my bad. And look, he didn't stop though. He's like, my bad. I didn't know.
Imma still get what I need,
I
though.
still get what I need though, but I'm just saying I didn't know. But no,
Yeah.
man, it's you know what I do, I don't believe that this generation is lazy. What I do appreciate from this generation though is that they just didn't take a lot of the stuff that they're just not taking a lot of the stuff that we took
Yeah.
because we didn't know better, right? And that's why a lot of the opportunities that were there, we didn't take them because we didn't know any better.
We just didn't know. Like, I didn't know I was working 60 hours a week, and I should have been getting paid overtime and wasn't. I just
Crazy.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
You know what I'm
Like
saying?
you
Like,
mean I don't have to take this. I don't have to take this stuff from this man yelling at me while I'm
right.
look. What we thought. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about this generation. We believe in we believe in giving a 2 week notification. They be like, why? If I leave today, they're gonna find somebody else tomorrow.
Yeah,
They ain't
and you're
giving
not
me.
gonna give
They
me a
don't
2
give me
day
2 weeks.
off notice.
Right. They don't give me 2 weeks when they get ready
Yeah,
to let me go. They
yeah,
let me work the whole day and then say, hey man, we appreciate you, but we gotta let you go.
yeah,
After I didn't work. He was like,
yeah,
my son was like, what do I look like giving them 2 weeks? And I'm like, well, it's because he was like, nobody do that no more, Dad.
yeah. I gave 6. I
But
gave
understandable though, because you had, what I'm saying, you had a 13-year connection with this
Yeah, yeah,
particular
and
guy.
I didn't know what was gonna happen. Some companies, man, they'd be like, "No, you can leave
They was
today."
like, no, we don't need you for that long. We
Right.
good.
And
We got
so
somebody on standby.
yeah, but you're right though. Like, and one of the chiefs actually thanked me for giving that kind of notice because she had
Hmm.
one of her people left and they didn't give. They gave like 2 weeks, which was I think bleeding into a holiday weekend. So, but I mean, again, because when people see how you treat people, they respond to that.
They respond to that. Yeah,
They respond to that.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look, man, Bro, I was literally in my house in tears on Saturday. I'm watching Diane Sawyer and Rachel Scott with this documentary that they've done, a
Mhm.
post-Roe world
Mm.
on women's reproductive rights and tragic health care that's scary. Now, I make clear, as a Christian, I am pro-life.
Right.
I'm also pro-living. We don't talk about the pro-living piece a lot.
No.
These 18 women are women who wanted children, Mike. But because of Texas and Florida laws, their babies were jeopardizing their life. Do
Mm.
you know, bro? You gotta watch the documentary, bro. Just Google Diane Sawyer, Rachel Scott, post-Roe world. I'm literally sitting up bawling. So in Texas, you have these women who just had, and one was like, "I'm from the South. I'm a Christian. I'm a Republican."
Mhm.
Her husband was like, "Yeah, I didn't know all the facts, so I've shifted my beliefs because of I know the facts." Right? I put a post up that said, "Legislation without education leads to false administration." The stories from these women, man, it will literally, you think about your wife being in this
Mhm.
situation in one of these states where even if your life is in jeopardy, it does not take precedence over the child, no matter what the state of that child is. There was a woman whose child would have been born with no lungs. So that means immediately when they came out of the womb, they would have suffocated to death. They were told your baby is dying inside of you. If that child dies inside of you, you can become septic and die instantly from it.
Right.
But in Texas, the woman has to get sick at a certain level before they will. Bro, every man needs to watch this documentary, bro. They need to watch this special. You have to wait until you have to be not just sick, you got to reach a certain level of sickness
Before they say, all right.
before they can say, all right. Knowing it can kill you, or knowing that it can cause a woman to become sterile. So these aren't women who just, oh, yeah, I got pregnant, I want an abortion. No, we're talking about women who've gone through fertility treatments, women who've had 3 or 4 miscarriages, women who
Right.
want to give birth to children. There was one woman who was having twins. One of the twins was not going to survive, had a certain condition. They would not let her get rid of the twin. The doctor said the longer the twin who's dying has to stay in, it begins to impact the health of the other twin, and you can lose both of them. But so these women had to fly out of state
To get procedures done.
to get procedures done. But now they said you've got states like Idaho, they're writing laws where you can't even cross their borders in a car. You can be pulled over, questioned.
Wow.
But again, these are predominantly at least in this interview, these are white women who typically vote Republican, don't understand the back end of what the white male dominated administration is doing to their reproductive health rights. Now, we're not talking about women who, I got pregnant, I'm not ready for that, I want to get divorced. We're talking
Right.
about women who genuinely, families who want children, right? And I watched one of the men talking, and he was just like, man, like I had no knowledge that a post Roe v. Wade decision
Yeah, man.
could lead to the death of my wife and my family. When I say, bro, I refuse to turn the channel. Because I think it's something that we all need to watch. I can be pro-life, I can be pro-living, I am anti-abortion, I'm all that. But to see the impact, bro, that of these women, the part that'll I'll let you speak after this. The part that's gutting is they asked them, like, did you have a name for your child?
I, drama sells, man. But
Drama does sell, bro.
it
They work
definitely
it, bro.
it definitely sells. You know what? I don't know why, but I just felt that when they overturned Roe v. Wade, I thought that was I'm like, that was the worst thing they could have done in regards to in regards to situations like that. It's like, how are you as a governing body going to tell somebody what's best for them in those types of situations, right?
That's
And I'm like you. I'm Christian and I'm pro-life, but I'm pro-choice too, man, because I can't I here's the thing. I don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in.
right.
You know what I mean?
That's
And
you and your God. Period.
right, that's between you and God. And I'm not going to tell you if he's going to forgive you or if that's not my place to say. But I also look at it like, how are you going to tell a woman? Whereas if she in the case of a heinous act, a woman is raped and she ends up becoming pregnant with this person's baby, and you're trying to tell her in certain states or certain situations that she has to keep this child.
That's what one of the husbands said. He said before he had all this knowledge, he was just like, no abortions. He was like, even in cases of rape, he said, I was hard line.
That's crazy.
He said, but after watching what my wife went through and getting educated, it shifted his whole perspective. And I think that's the danger. You would have a child, a 12-year-old, be raped and not give them the option after their body has been, you would rather them be that they've been violated by.
Yep.
To give them not even the option to make their own choice.
Not even to make their own choice. And then and basically what you're telling them is that you have to bring forth the seed of this person that did this egregious thing to you.
Yeah.
And every time you look at this baby, that's a reminder.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
absolutely.
but this is our government. This is the government that we have, man. And I was
it's about beliefs. It's like stop. It's like stop. It's not about your Christian beliefs.
It's not about that. Some of that stuff is just common sense. And we've lost the narrative, Tony.
Yeah.
We've lost the narrative. It's just like I don't even think common sense is a thing, and I hate to even say it, but I sometimes feel like common sense is just a thing of the past nowadays, man.
It is.
It's just like it's like simple things like just treating people nice. That was just common sense. You would just treat a person the way you wanted to be treated. Just things that we grew up understanding that this was just what decent folk did, or this is how decent folk thought, or whatever the case may have been. And all of those things have been tossed out the window. Yeah. And it's like, now somebody put a post up actually the other day. He was like, why it seems like y'all question everything, like y'all don't believe nothing. I'm like, because it's hard to. There used to be a time when the only thing you had was your name and your word. And if you lost your word,
Scarface, bro.
Man, I'm just saying. And once you lost that word, you ain't have nothing, bro.
Yeah.
And now, because of the society that we live in, you don't know who's being genuine. You don't know who's being truthful. Everybody has a narrative. Everybody has an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
And it's like you really have to question almost everything, man.
Yeah.
and it's exhausting sometimes too.
Yeah.
Because I'll be wanting to have guests on and it's crazy because I'll be wanting to invite guests on, and I'll go and I'll check out their stuff and I'll be watching them and everything, and I'll be like, something about this guy.
So I got a question for you then, bro.
Okay.
Because I saw the post you put up about a month ago. I know you know where I'm going. You ain't got to talk about it.
Look, which
but
one?
When you had invited somebody onto your show and they agreed to come to your show, and then they backed out of your show because they said you didn't have and I'm paraphrasing, the amount of followers or something that would align with that. And I think when I saw it, I was immediately disgusted because from an integrity point, and I get the marketing stuff and how they want people exposed. Like, you don't know if I got, like, it's 3 people on here right now. You don't know who them 3 people are.
You have no idea.
You have no idea who they know. Whoever's watching right now, I appreciate y'all too. But you don't know who they know. So when I saw that they backed out, I was like, he ain't gonna say the name. He got too much class. But I would have been tempted to put them on blast. But I'm glad you did. And I was hoping they probably reached out to you to make up for it and come on the show.
No, you know what's funny? People, okay, I'm so sorry. Everybody's being so hood this evening. But no, the crazy thing is, it's like my sister was like, you should tell who it is. I said, no, I ain't gonna do that. Because I'm not messy like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you never know what situation may happen where we may end up collaborating at some time. And I don't want to put that taste in anybody's mouth, but no, I absolutely agree. I did think it was it was petty, and it was really distasteful because, I get it. You have a larger following and that's fine. But it's just like I said, it's like, and like you just confirmed, you don't know who's watching what I'm doing.
Right.
Right. It's just like that old saying is like, listen, I know a guy who know a guy who knows a guy. You know what I'm saying? And so in that vein, I don't know who's watching right now. Right. And you never know whose ear things will get to. And I'm gonna tell you, that's why I kind of do what I do, because even amongst all the noise, even amongst all of the rhetoric and the foolishness and and just all of the craziness that's out there, I'm still naive enough to believe that somebody somewhere will find this conversation, and will benefit from it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's why that's really why I do it, man. And so, but yeah, she didn't want to come on because my following wasn't big enough, and I was like, that's cool. I'm like, but I do wish one thing. I wish she would have been woman enough to tell me herself. That's what I really wish, because I would have told her the exact same thing that I'm saying. And God bless you. And I ain't got no ill will. I wish you all the best.
Yeah.
But you kind of petty for that.
Yeah.
And you don't, and clearly you don't understand how networking really works, because my circle is different than your circle. Even if they connect at some point in time,
man,
it's still different. It's a different circle. So man, whatever. Little bit of advice: if you get invited on the show, I don't care how large or how big the format is, listen, don't forget, don't be that person with no integrity.
I wouldn't even care, bro. I was like, you invite me on?
You invite me. Look, I appreciate the fact that you even considered me. Like, you sent me an invite. You ain't have to do that. What? Look, who am I?
I'm like, that's my man. I know Mike. That's my dude.
Bro, it was like, I'm sending my invite. I'm like, what?
And I think that's the thing about, in digital spaces. I was talking to the young man who called me this morning to congratulate me on the job. And I was telling him, like, I ministered to a brother for 4 years, all digital.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to meet. And the one day we're supposed to meet, he did not get downtown in time. I was like, I mean, we're just going to reschedule, man. He died 2 days later.
Wow.
I built a closer relationship with this dude than I had with brothers I have been in contact with in the church for 20, 30 years. Because where he was, he needed to share raw without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We built such, and I miss him. We built such a bond because it wasn't just me in ministering to him, he was ministering to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's these bonds that we build with people where you never know who that connection is going to be and what could manifest from it.
Like we've never met in person, but
Right.
the network that we have, like when you talk about you and brother Eddie
Hey,
and
pastor.
the pastor and whoever else is in that, that circle.
Yeah.
It's like the relationships that I've been, and I joke about it. I was like, listen, my circle's so small it can be a dot.
Mm.
That's just,
Period.
that's like, oh, there it is. Right.
Yeah.
That's how small my circle is, because I don't let a lot of people in that space. And because it's not hard for me to trust people, but
Mhm.
it's just like I said earlier, in this time it's hard to establish trust.
Yeah.
And especially as men, we just don't trust easy like that. No way. It's like, no, I don't know about this brother. He
Yeah.
seemed a little suspect.
I've trusted too easy. I've trusted too easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you have to be careful with that, man. But I love the network of people that we collaborate with, man, on whatever level, and whether it's 3 people watching or 300 people watching. It's like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just enjoy it. I enjoy this. I enjoy what we do, and I appreciate it, and I believe in the power of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes you need a break from the noise. And it's so much out there that oftentimes our conversations get drowned out.
Absolutely. I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
Pat
So it's
Williams like took over everything after that shade. It was like you couldn't go anywhere without it. And I was in the shop this weekend I gotta say getting my hair done now because I got
mhm.
locks. Can't just say getting the fade, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But she put it on. I was like, just put it on. And just listening to him, I was like, man, no wonder everybody talking about Cat Williams. Like this dude
Yeah.
really went to town on people.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
he was taking shots.
Yeah, but he just really galvanized the moment that Shay gonna benefit from. You know.
Dude. He told him. He said, listen, he was like, this is gonna put you in a whole this is gonna put you in a whole different atmosphere, sir. He said Oprah's coming soon. Believe me when I tell you. And I was like, and look, in less than a week, he had over 55 million views on that one show. He gained over 1 million subscribers
I just
on
want to know how much
YouTube.
YouTube paid. I just want to know how much YouTube paid him. That's all I want to know.
Listen,
I just want to see the check, Shay. Uncle
I
Shay.
just want to see them. I want to see them residuals,
Yeah.
sir.
You can hang out with us, Uncle Shay. Just come and hang out with us, man.
Look, just come hang out with us, man.
Yeah.
Give me the keys to the condo, sir. That's
Yes.
all I'm saying.
Yes.
But
Hey,
dude, it just blew him up, man. And I ain't mad at him.
yeah. My cuz told me, he said, man, look, I tune in sometime. He said, but you ain't got no controversy on your show. And I'm like, and he was like, he said, you and your boy Gary, man, it's like y'all agree with each other. And me and Gary, like sometimes when we don't agree, but when we don't agree, we just don't agree. There's no beef, dog.
Can I confess something to you though?
Go ahead.
I swear to you, when I brought my sister on, it was a purpose, because me and Phil have been doing it for so long, where it's like, Phil ain't gonna push back too much,
Yeah.
like unless it's something he is really, really, really passionate about.
Yeah.
He's just not gonna push back on it like that. But man, I was like, we need that third person.
It's that spice, isn't it, man? It's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
about Can you hear me? Because you froze a little bit.
No, I can hear you. I'm looking at myself being frozen too. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's something about that level, and I'm like, okay, how do I do this then in a Christian context that doesn't take away from the work that we're doing and the meaning
Mm-hmm.
behind it that we're doing? And I haven't really, given much thought to it. What I'm trying to build up right now, I've got to talk to a production manager about getting people on the show. Like she really wants to help take the show to another level when it comes to guests and things like that.
Yeah.
Uh, which I'm looking forward to having her help and her assistance working on, and she'll do it pro bono, and I'm like, wow, I'll bless you whenever I can, and because you know what it takes, man. These shows they take time, they
It
take money,
takes,
they
dude,
take
it takes
effort,
time
they take
and dedication
research.
and research. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I do just go off the cuff.
And that's
It all
cool.
depends. It depends on the conversation
Yeah,
though, because
yeah, that's cool.
it's some things I'm just not. It's some things that but I'll admit, like, look, I'm not well versed in this particular thing,
Yeah,
but we just go in with that, with the conversation still, but. I will say that I'm gonna tell you this. When we were doing shows like I remember when they first announced what's the young lady's name who just recently did the um Halle Bailey. I
yeah,
think that's her name. I
uh,
think that's her name.
yeah,
Or Haley Bailey, whatever her name is.
Haley,
When she
Haley,
Haley, one of them. She's a Bailey, not Barry, not to be confused with Halle
right?
Berry.
Yeah,
But when they first announced her as being the Little Mermaid, I remember we did a show called The Real Problem with Mermaids.
mm,
And it was a show, and what we did was we talked about number one, Hollywood's tradition of whitewashing roles and how there was so many different instances where you had people of the European or Caucasian persuasion, if you will, were playing people of other cultures. Like Ben Affleck in Argo, the character that he played was Mexican. Ben Affleck ain't Mexican. You look at Scarlett Johansson, was she in the Ghost of the Shell? That was a Japanese anime.
yeah,
Scarlett Johansson ain't Japanese.
yeah, yeah.
So there and there. I mean, you can even
Robert
go back
Downey.
to you can you can even go back to the Ten Commandments. Charlton Heston was playing Moses. Y'all know that man wasn't Hebrew, but that was Hollywood's tradition of whitewashing characters. But
Cleopatra.
Cleopatra. But see, the problem though is what people got twisted is that it wasn't so much of the color of the character, but people don't even realize the truth behind that story of the Little Mermaid. See,
Mhm.
everybody just know the Disney aspect, but they don't know the true story of it and how that story was gruesome. Because and then when you look at the overarching theme of the Little Mermaid,
Yeah.
you're basically celebrating not celebrating, but this is a movie about a young girl who gave up something who she was
Mhm.
for a man that she didn't even know.
Mm.
And that's what we was like, yeah, and that's what we're showing our daughters. And we talked about that. We ain't get no views on that show.
Oh yeah,
But
yes,
then we talked about the girl who tried to front on the guy for taking her to to Applebee's or the Cheesecake Factory. Everybody and their mama was watching that day because
yeah.
everybody had a comment about it.
And
You
that was
know,
all a what was that? All it was a ruse anyway.
all of it was all the rules, man.
It was all
You
a ruse.
know, so there is a way, and I will encourage you because there is a way that you can have the conversations because and that was the one thing that I did, and it wasn't because, and I want to say this because a lot of people was like, well, why didn't you do a church podcast? I'm like, what are you talking about? Why didn't I do a church podcast? What's a church podcast? Because if you just talking about why I'm not talking about Jesus, that's Bible study.
Yeah,
And I said, and I do Bible study.
yeah,
I said, but what I wanted to do something, I wanted to have a podcast where it still gave you a Christian male's perspective
mhm,
because there's a level of integrity that we're just not going to go beyond. It's like, no,
yeah,
we're not going to have certain guests on. You're not going to come on here a certain way
yeah,
because
absolutely.
as Christian men, this is we have a certain level of integrity that we have to maintain.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And I'm sure you have the same even for your
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
ain't
definitely.
bringing everybody and their mama on here. It's like, man,
Yeah.
no.
Now, when I had my radio station, I was on Q4 radio for a while.
Hmm.
When I had my radio station, one, it was public radio, so you couldn't use profanity on it anyway. So that was
Right.
all, great. And so I had rules for every guest who came in, like, hey, look, this ain't my studio. These are the rules and regulations. If you can't abide by it, don't come.
Yep.
And I had guests who would cancel last minute. And so I did my own show, it turned into a
Yeah.
talk show at the time. And I miss being in a recording. I miss being in a studio because, I really enjoyed learning the soundboard, learning how to go live, learning
Hmm.
how to, keep the radio station queued up, setting up the next cue for the radio when I was walking
Yeah.
out. Like, it was just so much that I really enjoyed learning about being inside of a live studio, where I could play music and things like that. I do miss that aspect, but and we had some controversial conversations that were on there, but again,
Hmm.
nothing that was out of context because my brand is it's on the holiness side. Like I
Right.
don't do controversy like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
if you're looking for and I went back and forth with some sisters on some stuff, like for sure, but not at a point of just blatant disrespecting them and things like that.
Right. 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 Right.
I don't get off on any of that stuff, man. Like all that stuff is it's just crazy to me, man. But I think any opportunity to interview folks, and I love bringing folks in from the community, from theater to MCs, young
Hmm.
MCs, couple MCs, business people. I mean, I had a whole lot of people. I had poets come through, Geronimo. I had Vondale Singleton from Champs. I had Ali Hood Rays, Antoine who watches, and Antoine's becoming a very, very good friend of mine over the years, and we've developed our relationship, man. So, I love being able to bring people in and just talk to them at a radio station. And so even,
Yeah.
doing it now and doing it live, I'm grateful for this space. I'm grateful for this space just as well. But I've been thinking about, man, how can I get a radio station at home? And I know the people who can help me with that. It's not time yet. I ain't putting
Yeah.
nothing else on my plate in 2024.
Man, I
You know,
get it, man.
before we
But
break out of here, man,
mhm.
have you heard about what's going on with Illinois school vouchers and then with Chicago Public Schools is trying to do to get rid of selective enrollment schools, which in shadow will get rid of it could lead to the decimation of charter schools. Have you heard about what's going on?
I heard a little bit about it, but I'm not that informed on it where I feel like I can really,
Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying? But
at the end of the day, Paul Vallis, now IllinoisPolicy.org, I want to warn everybody, it's a very conservative media outlet, but
mhm.
you can't knock facts and you can't knock data. Period. Right? So, one, Illinois has not renewed, they let expire the voucher program. The voucher program was predominantly used for public school for Catholic schools. So for families to be able to afford to go to Catholic schools, they had these vouchers that they would get.
Right.
Well, Illinois canceled it. They didn't renew it. So Catholic schools have been closing.
Wow.
In Chicago now, you have the Chicago board is able to, the CPS board is able to they have jurisdiction over charter schools. So the attack against charter schools really started more so. Well, it's always been around.
Mhm.
I worked for a charter school for 13 and a half years. So when I encountered people, it was every time they spoke, I'm like, it's because you ignorant on the matter. They thought all charter schools were private schools. I was like, no, they're not. They're public charter schools. Not all charter schools are not private. Majority of
Right.
charter schools are public. Noble's one of the biggest in the state of Illinois. So they announced a week before we have to start hearings for charter renewal, they announced looking to get rid of selective enrollment schools. Now, when you think selective enrollment, you already know what I'm talking, Mike. The Whitney Youngs, the Walter Paytons, the Northside College Prep, the Lynn Blooms, the
Right.
Wendell Brooks, Jones Commercial, all these other schools out there that are selective enrollment. They want to push back. They want to put more funding back into community schools. The attack is it begins to treat charter schools like they're not public schools or community schools, which is not the truth. Now, I've stood on this from day one of working for a charter school. I'm all good with you getting rid of all charter schools if you get rid of all selective enrollment schools. But I know you're not going to get rid of all selective enrollment schools because you have the Northside Preps, you've got the Whitney Youngs, you've got the Jones Commercials, and you've got some other schools out there. You've got the Latin School. These are schools that are predominantly housed by Asian and whites. Whitney Young may be a bit different, right? But the Jones Commercials, you're not going to level the playing field for that. And even if you did for Jones Commercial, that school is downtown Chicago. That's South Loop, right? How many of us and our kids are in that jurisdiction? My daughter's neighborhood school is Corliss. I have to drive past Simeon and Julian to get to Corliss. I'm on Ashland. My neighborhood school is Corliss on Cottage Grove. I have to drive past 2 high schools in order to get there. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense.
This whole the whole CPS as a whole, just actually school as a whole, just needs to be overhauled.
We've been doing the same thing for what, 200 years?
200. It is built on such an archaic system. And I mean, and really, to be honest with you, when you look at schools were pretty much set up to train these kids how to work in factories.
The Rockefellers, baby. You already know the deal.
So it's like when you look at it from that perspective, somebody has to be able to say, okay, listen, this is not working out. Right? You look at now, like I know some teachers, and the first thing they said, like, Mike, I talked, my cousin actually, he's a teacher down in Florida, and we've talked a couple of times. He was like, man, people don't know just how serious it is because you have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that's reading on like 3rd grade levels.
Mike,
third grade levels, man.
They just took CPS data, bro. It is the reading levels and the math levels. But let's take math off the table. The reading levels. 1 in 5 illiterate. They asked them to define what that illiterate is. It's not able to daily function. So that's even reading without zero comprehension. That's statewide. That's Chicago-wide. Scary number that 1 in 4 African Americans illiterate.
Dude, it's absolutely terrifying.
So now we're trying to say that we're going to increase funding for neighborhood schools by getting rid of selective enrollment. Now, it's no joke that charter schools get private funding and public funding. That's no joke. Everybody, that's no secret. Everybody knows that. What happened when the mayor closed 50 schools, former Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Alderman signed off on it, by the way. Everybody want to blame Rahm, but Alderman signed off on it.
He didn't do it by himself.
But everybody want to blame Rahm. All Chicago aldermen got together and passed an ordinance that no charter school could occupy any of the 50 schools that were closed for 10 years. So what happens to those buildings? Now if we're talking about funding, you can close 50 schools. You still have to maintain those schools. You have to maintain those schools during the wintertime. I don't even know if the OIG did a report on how many frozen pipes happened in these schools. I knew one school that the pipes froze and the water was the pipe was so bad it started leaking into a church.
Wow.
And so that was the first sign that we're going to limit what charter schools can do and have access to. But for some failing CPS buildings, well, I shouldn't say failing, I correct that. For some lower enrolled CPS buildings that are big, like we're going to allow charter schools to come into that space to occupy the sides of the building that are not being used because of enrollment numbers. So Chicago and Illinois, like our enrollment numbers are declining because our citizenship is declining. Because as violence rises in the city, the population leaving rises in the city.
Right?
Right?
And you know what? The pandemic helped with that too.
Oh man,
Because you have a lot of people now that's like homeschooling.
yeah.
Like
And, you know,
just gonna do
we're
homeschool.
homeschoolers. We
Yeah.
homeschool from a pre-K all the way up through 8th grade.
Yeah. So it's like I mean, it is what it is, man. And these are just precursors to the time. And it's just like I talked to my wife because she teaches kindergarten, and it's so funny because it's like, you know, that you look at that person and it's just like you feel like they just on the front lines, and it's like they by themselves because she cares so much for these kids. And she was like, Michael, she said, my babies ain't passing. She said they're not passing, they just want me to pass them. And I'm like, and I'm like, what do you tell her? What do you tell in that instance? And then we have a system that just push kids through, and you're literally sending them into the world. Ultimately, you're sending them into the world, and they're not with the deficiency, and it's not fair. It's not fair, and it's not right, and it's just nobody seems to have a solution for it. Yeah. And you're going to get to a point where you're going to have, well, you already got it. It's already to that point. Like this generation, they can't even read analog clocks. I'm like, Jesus, if the internet system went down, what are y'all gonna do?
Bruh. The request that we had to deal with to install analog clocks, to install digital clocks. I'm like,
yeah,
like my daughter know how to read a clock because we taught her how to read a clock.
How to read a clock?
Oh, the students are late for class because they can't read the clocks.
Because they can't read the clocks. They don't know what the difference between the big hand, the small hand, and the second hand.
Like, but again, that's stuff that should be taught at home. That's a bigger part of the problem.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show, man. But I will tell people, y'all look and see what's happening in the news.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Public School Board and what they're trying to do with selective enrollment by getting rid of that, what those implications will mean for the city, and what the long-term implications of those will mean for charter schools. At the end of the day, this is about parent choice. And I've always said, I don't care if it's a public charter school or a CPS school. It doesn't matter to me. Where is the kid flourishing? If the kid is flourishing at the charter school, then let him flourish. If the kid is flourishing at the Chicago Public School, then let him flourish. But Absolutely. To take the choice away from parents, that's problematic. To take parental choice away, now you already can let a kid go to school, tell you what gender they want to be identified with, and the parent will never know. By law, the parent can never know. So you're going to give children more choice over what they decide they want, over giving parents a choice to what schools they want to have their kids in.
Again, now that's another show, right?
another show.
That's another show right there. Lord Jesus.
Last soundbite, fam. I do want to talk about Christianity in its current state. Not going to get into the deep, dark details of it because that's not the intent for the show. I know we should. I want to say this. What we get on Instagram or TikTok when people start posting up things that certain pastors are doing and things like this, we're getting sound bites.
Right.
Sound bites are not truth, but they're enough to damage your truth without context. And if you're your own church that's doing sound bites and putting them out there, don't expect people to click on that link for the whole sermon.
Because they don't.
Because they don't. And they're not going to.
This is why I'm getting into the habit now of putting snippets. Now, every now and again, you'll get that one person like, that was interesting. Let's see what they're talking about. But I'm getting more into the habit now of putting clips out there. And it's funny because you were talking about getting your prostate checked earlier.
Yeah.
And I put a clip out there about me and Phil was talking about that, how they lowered the age from 50 to 45.
Yes.
And Phil was like, man, I don't know. He was like, Jackie been telling me I need to go. He said, but Mike, I just ain't ready for a man to tell me to hold on to the table. And I thought that was so funny. And I don't know why I don't remember that conversation, but I was just going back over some videos and I was like, that's hilarious. And I put that out there.
You will feel strange. I'm just gonna tell you like it is. You will feel strange. You will feel strange.
I'm
right?
sorry. But back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, back to what I was saying. We've got sidetracked real quick. Sound bites are not truth.
No, they are not.
I saw a 7-minute video. Somebody sent me a video of, first of all, I don't know what the speaking in tongues stuff is with no interpreter around. But there's a woman, a pastor, she's speaking over Jamal Bryant. But when she goes to lay hands on him, she literally kind of tackles him almost and lays down like next to him while partially her body's on top of him. Bro, this is real. This is a 7-minute video.
I need that link.
What I'm saying is, bro, it's like these are things that's causing people to say, why?
Oh, absolutely.
In this day and age, I see more Christians defending foolishness than I do, and then talking about the people who are saying things about it, right? The age of accountability seems to be dying. And I'm going to say amongst the Black church. That's the church I'm dealing with right now because, that's the church I want to talk about. Other things happen in other churches, but I'm talking about we're the ones who were on show. I don't see no clips.
No.
In white evangelical churches.
Mm-mm.
At all. We're the one. Well, I've seen a couple, like the pastor who grabbed somebody's cell phone and slammed it down because they answered it in the church.
Oh yeah. I think I did see that one.
Yeah. Like you kind of earned that, but
like,
take your time back. I don't know, but that's the issue. The pastor who had Walk It Out is part of his. Again, you from, and I listened to his rationale. Like, let me at least go listen to his rebuttal.
Yeah.
Well, secular music been around the church forever. You think all them notes you playing is
now? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I gotta let you finish. Go ahead.
and trust me, I when I heard Dr. Dre at a church, it was like that. I was like, well, that's a sample from, but it was like, but the rationale is that if I want to reach the world, I've got to have a part of the world incorporated in. And I don't believe that. My bishop, the sainted Bishop Arthur M. Brazier, was one of the greatest preachers on the planet. That ain't even opinion. That's facts. Never used a prop. Sometimes we'll say, cut the music. I don't want an emotional shift. I want a spiritual shift. And music has its place. Don't get them wrong. But on occasion, you know what I'm saying? Cut the music. I think we run into trouble for us not to allow Christian rap in a lot of our churches. Of all the Christian rappers that are out there sending messages, you chose Walk It Out. Out of all the Christian MCs that are out there, you chose a secular song to say Walk It Out. And I think that's the problem of the watering down of the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got, man.
This is such a loaded weapon.
It is.
However, it's it's conversation that need to be had, because especially as you said, like just dealing with the black church, um, somewhere along the way, we have forgotten how important the black church is to the community. And so much so where it's no longer ministry about the people. And as a result of that, it's more now. It's not about saving. There's not so much at least from my perspective, it's not so much about the saving of souls, but it's more so the filling of seats. And so what do? Well, we do all of these wonderful things to attract and to say, hey, look at what we're doing over here, and it looks good, it's pleasing to the eyes, it's appealing to the eyes, and everybody's like, wow, and they get caught up in the emotionality of it all, right? And that's where we are right now, and it's been that way for years. Let's just be honest, it's been that way for a long time.
Yes.
The thing is like having the world in the church. I understand what he meant, but there's a way that you can do it. And this is what I mean. Most people are just looking for you to be genuine. That's all. Because, see, it's hard for me to come into a church and I see you in your fancy suits and your fancy dresses with your big hats and your nice cars and everything. And listen, the Lord bless however and whoever he wants to. But it's hard for me to see that and then to talk to you as a person who maybe don't quite understand what this Christian stuff is, or I don't understand what a faith walk is.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to you, you can tell me, well, I used to do this, and look at me now. But for some reason, you are afraid to have the conversation about what happened in between.
Yeah.
And so we've forgotten how to be relatable. And this is why we can't connect anymore. We don't know how to relate to the people anymore.
Yeah.
You know what? You know why Jesus was such a great witness? Because he knew how to relate to everybody that he spoke to, no matter what level they were on. He didn't necessarily go to the clubs with them, but he understood club talk. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
And so this is where we fall short. No one is saying that you have to go out to the clubs and you have to, or bring the clubs to the church, but you still have to be relatable. You have to understand that this young man is coming up off the streets of somebody that was selling whatever to keep money in his pocket. And now here you are trying to present to him Jesus. And in his mind, he is thinking like, well, is Jesus going to do this, this, and this for me? And you have to be able to tell him now it's not going to be the way that you think, because it's different over here. Yeah. But I understand where you're coming from. I understand your perspective. So let me show you a different way. Let me show you different than what you know. Mm-hmm. We can't forget how to relate to the people. And this is why the church is, and unfortunately, this is why the church is failing. This is why the black church is no longer the pillar in the community as it once was, because we no longer relate to the people in the community.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, and I think some churches do it well. I think some
churches do it really well. Absolutely,
some churches don't try to do anything at all.
No.
I'm not one to convince that every church on the block is a church. You know, for most of these cats, it's a tax shelter.
Tony,
we're not gonna get started on that.
I encourage you to drive from 71st to Ashland to 95th and count how many churches is in that stretch.
I'll do you better than that. I already did it from 12th and Road from 12th and Ashland all the way down.
It's insane.
Then my old boss, Big Mike, he gave me a way to think about it without even having to count them.
How did he do
was
that?
Like, no, if you're going from the 1200 block of such and such all the way to the 900 block of such and such, mm-hmm. and you see an average of 2 on one side and 3 on the other, you can use deductive reasoning and mathematics to come up with your own formula of number and just get an approximate. I was like,
Jesus.
wish I'd have met you 10 years ago, dog, because I was counting a whole lot of churches.
I was driving down the street counting.
I was driving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
How many on that side, baby? It was
Right.
6. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, but it was interesting, that many, which should be problematic, but it's because everybody can't say that anymore. So I'm going to take that out of my vocabulary. You know, the old everybody wants to be we got too many and not enough. You know,
I mean, but it's the
everybody
truth. Everybody
wants
wants to be the leader. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the servant.
Yeah.
And
not even realizing that the pastor is the greatest servant out of the whole church.
Shepherds work.
It's a job. It's a job,
Shepherds
man.
Work. That's the shepherds work.
Well, the good ones.
The good ones.
They work.
The good ones. They work.
The good ones, they work. Yeah, man.
Hey, fam, a couple of announcements for y'all out there. February 10th, the Apostolic Church of God is the Playbook of Love. It's our Covenant Partners Marriage Ministry kickoff. It is from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We have a football theme, a sports theme, for this year.
Jerseys?
Going at it by quarters. Yeah, so they want you to wear your favorite couple's jersey. Wear that. That again, go on ACOG, excuse me, ACOG-chicago.org. Register. You and your wife, y'all go out there, fam. You got to register. Don't just show up because you're going to be eating if you show up. You got to register. But we're kicking off our kickoff breakfast. Pastor wanted it. He's like, y'all going to do it. I'm going to come speak, share some words, but y'all run it. But I want everybody to come. We're going to do breakfast. I'm covering it. Done.
That's what's up.
So, go ahead, Pastor. Yeah. Cover that, bro. Make that happen. So I'm going to see if I can actually share this. I don't know if I can or not. Maybe they'll see it. Maybe they won't. Let me see. I want to share my screen. Oh, I ain't got to do with this. I got a new Mac, man. So you know how that go, bro. You got to do all this stuff and all this other stuff, and man, it just drives you crazy sometimes. No, later for that. I'm gonna try to share it again anyway, though. Let me see here. I want to share my screen. I want to share a window, Chrome tab, and window, and boom. You seeing anything? Nope.
No, sir.
Okay, cool. Don't worry about it. Okay. So that's one of the pieces I wanted to share. And also, so again, ACOG-chicago.org. Married folk, get your favorite couple's jersey. Come on out and just join in what we're working on for the year for married couples. It's our first time back since the pandemic. My wife and I joined the leadership team last year. So we are representing hard. Yeah, they got me on the technology stuff too, man.
Of course.
You already know. And another piece for you all is Grace and Grief presents Rebirth Conference, February 9th through the 10th. So they've got a Widows VIP night. That's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Soul City Church. That's 1150 West Adams Street. And then the next day, the Rebirth Conference is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So this is headed up by Lysandra Hutchison. So she's the one who was the wife of the guy I told you I was ministering to who passed away. Yeah. Okay. I've had her on my show a long time ago, but they're doing this grief and counseling. So from the death of her husband spawned this Grace and Grief ministry. And so again, family, that will be Rebirth Conference. I'll share the flyers next week. I'll make sure all my settings are right. That is February 9th and 10th. Widows VIP night is from 6 to 9 p.m. CST time on February 9th. And then February 10th, the Rebirth Conference is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's at Soul City Church, 1150 West Adams Street, Chicago, Illinois. Grace and Grief presents. So look that up. I'll share the flyers out next week just to make sure everybody has them. Mike, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, bro.
Oh, man, I appreciate the invite, man. You already know how it is.
Absolutely. Hey, fam, we thank y'all for tuning in to Message Monday, Christian Men, Christian Walk, Christian Talk. We in season 4, episode 67. coming back at you. We're going to plan on getting some guests in. Again, I always say this. If there's things y'all want to talk about, things y'all want to discuss, let us know. Antoine, give us a quote for the week for next week, man. Don't forget me. And other than that, fam, may the peace of God that passes all understanding guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Mike, tell folks how they can get on your show. Get to your show.
Absolutely, man. You can pretty much follow us on Facebook at the Man Up Real Talk podcast page, or you can follow me, myself, Michael Wiley, and we live stream every Friday at 7 o'clock. That's every Friday at 7 o'clock. We stream live to Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else they allow us to stream live. We're just there. Real quick, next month, we're on our winter break right now, but we will be coming back in February, actually kicking off for Black History Month. We always come back in Black History Month, and this month we are celebrating Black authors. So we have some awesome guests lined up. We have Pastor Henry coming on, talking about his new book that's coming out. We also have a young man by the name of Brendan Steele, who has a book for men in regards to good mental health. And then we also have, because I'm a comic book dude, man, I found a comic book creator, and this guy, he illustrated, he wrote, and actually published his own comic book. And we're gonna have him on. His name is actually Antoine too, Antoine Mitchell. He'll be on.
Antoine, who's on here, is an author, man.
Really?
Yeah, Antoine's an author, man. He's got 3 poetry books out there.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, so we're just trying to put authors on the block, man, because the arts is lost, bro. It's like they just seem like they just kicking it out the window. And I believe in Black literature. I was an avid reader. My mom was an avid reader. My dad was an avid reader. One thing he used to always tell me, he was like, "Boy, I don't care what you read, just read something." And that's what I did, man. And so I've always had a heart for it. And so we're gonna have our authors on. And we're coming back from a month-long break, so we're gonna have a lot to talk about. And we're just excited, we just want your support. If you're down for us, like I said, every Friday, 7 o'clock, Man Up Real Talk. Come on and check us out.
Man Up Real Talk. Hey, fam, we love y'all. Always stay prayerful. Pray for somebody else. Stay prayed up. Men, go get your health checks. It's your boy Tone B. We Gucci.
Welcome to Message Monday. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk. With your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday.